I'm so burnt out of my job. I'm so cooked. My nervous system is fried. Today is the day after Labor Day, Tuesday, and it feels like a Monday. I feel like no matter what I do in life, I don't get a fucking break. I can't get a break. And it's rough. You think after working hard and doing all the stuff that you're supposed to do, corporate America and Uncle Sam will give you a break. We'll give you opportunity. And I don't see that at all. I feel so hopeless. I feel so disillusioned and lost. And I'm really just hanging in there because today is a really heavy day. It's been a really, really rough day. And I feel like I'm not supposed to talk about that to anyone I work with. That I'm supposed to keep that to myself and show up with a fucking smile. And there's only so much I can take. Us men are told to be strong our whole fucking lives. And we can't be fucking weak. So here I am stuffing it down. And just you carry all this on your shoulders time after time after time after time. I'm exhausted. It's just like things are getting worse in my life in a lot of ways and in the world, and it's just overwhelming. I feel like I'm drowning, and it fucking sucks.
Now, the generational burnout is being felt by all across the board. The millennials seem to be calling out the most. I know for a fact Gen Z feels. I know for a fact there are some boomers out there, believe it or not, that do feel it as well. Now, it's this constant crisis of having to work and work and work and never really feeling like they're satisfied. You know, you're always feeling you're behind compared to where you thought you'd be in life, your parents at your current age, and seemingly anybody that you went to school with, your coworkers, or any sort of peers around where you feel like, you know, you're comparing yourself to, which we all say we shouldn't be, but at the end of the day, we all sort of are. Because it's how, as a human, as anybody, as any person with a brain, a logical IQ, can tell where they are in life. You have to compare somewhat. Now in this video, we're going to cover a couple different generational crises touched on by a couple different ages. And if you personally can relate to anything discussed in this video, or you simply just been enjoying my daily drama commentaries over here on the page, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, opinions down below, and subscribe to see my daily videos right here on the channel. And a huge shout out to the handful of you guys checking out those links down below in the description. Those are always some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. Now, let's begin this shit show.
I feel like the midlife crisis age has moved from your 40s to your 20s. Hear me out. Let's think about how a midlife crisis would happen 20 years ago. You know, you get a job, you work, and then you get to the age of 40. Once you get to the age of 40, you start looking around at everybody else, and it seemed like everybody else doing better than you. You drive a Honda, Joe from down the street drive a BMW. Yo shawty a cool 6. Joe wife look like my baby Coco Jones. You got a decent sized house, but it seemed like Joe and everybody else has a way bigger house than you. You start comparing yourself to everybody else, and you're not doing quite as good as everybody else, and it causes you mental turmoil, something that we call a midlife crisis. And due to social media, I think this shit is now happening in our 20s. And I'm gonna have a real moment with y'all boys. I turned 21 this year, and I was watching the clothing brand dude, I think his name Caprice or something, he 18. He bought his mama and his dad a house and a car. And I make decent money for my age, but he make great money for his age. And I had a little moment like, damn, bruh, I'm 21 and I ain't even touching no real money for real. And especially since we live in the age of streamers where they can make millions of dollars, which is a good thing, but it's very easy as an individual who's around Kai's age and you got a job and you ain't got no money on to be like, damn, like, what the fuck is really going on? And you can have the same effect of a midlife crisis in your 20s because you're comparing yourself to everybody. Much like the example of somebody in their 40s, only that we're realizing shit quicker because of social media and we're comparing ourselves on social media. So it's like, damn, I think we having midlife crisis in our 20s.
Quote-unquote midlife crisis seems to be something that used to be felt in the later years, like, you know, creeping up on your late 30s, your early 40s, going into your 50s. Some people used to get it then. Now it seems that nobody seems to have hope for the future. Nobody sees themselves living that long. You're looking at your people that are a couple years older than you, and they're looking even worse than you are now, so you have really no sight of what you're going to be like then. All you're doing is wishing for the past, which is already gone, and the time's been spent. And I would have to say that I think the news headlines, I think our constant stress, it's always being piled up, whether that's the economy crisis, the financial crisis, the political crisis that happens every 4 years, at least here in the States, or however long other elections are in the other parts of the world. I know some people don't have elections, but God bless everybody. It's a crazy world we're living in, where it's like you never really feel like you get to relax for a bit. When you used to be able to sit down and kind of ignore the world, feel like you get to just, throw on your favorite sports team or scroll through your Facebook, now you can't even relax. You can't even avoid your real life because you're constantly like, what am I doing? I'm not in my early 20s anymore. I can't just throw on my video games and fuck around with my friends. I actually should be doing something with my life. I should be doing some progress. I should be hustle, hustle, hustle. Especially here in the West, that culture has obsessed the mind. It's kind of infested us. So these young men, they're aging themselves to death, and it's definitely being seen in the receding hairlines and the wrinkles on the face and on the bank accounts that seem to be more in the red, in the negative, than they do to be in the green and the positive.
Can we all finally collectively agree that we do jobs for money? It just seems really weird that companies and interviewees are always dancing around this subject. Like, we're here for the money, that's it. Not for the culture, not for Pizza Fridays. We are here to get a paycheck and pay our bills.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k because, shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, that car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75,000 a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it.
How many paychecks do you often get where as soon as you get them, they're pretty much gone? You only get to look at the number in your bank account to make sure it's there so you can have a little bit of relief before it's getting taken up by bills, whether that's phone bill, rent payments, any sort of utilities, groceries. Hey, if you have any sort of dependence, that's going to cost you more than you probably are paying for yourself. And especially if you're a good person, it definitely is. So it's a hard reality right now for many folks where it's like, there's not much help to go around because everybody and their mother needs help. And I'm sorry, Mom, but we're not looking too good around here. So it's a rough reality right now. And do you personally have any thoughts, opinions regarding anything right now? How are you getting by? I know that a lot of people are kind of like relying on their fast food app deals. Chick-fil-A in my area has like a free fry or free chicken sandwich every time that my local sports team wins a match. So I've been taking advantage of that. I know that a lot of the fast food places have been doing like cheaper dollar meals for the EBT cutoff, which is, I think I got put back on. I don't know. Feel free to let me know down below in the comments if that affects you at all. It didn't really affect me. I'm not on EBT, but I did cover in the past, so let's talk about it. But yeah, if you guys have any other thoughts, opinions regarding anything discussed in this video, I'd love to hear those down below in the comments, as well as a huge shout out to have you guys check out those links down below in the description. Those are always some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. It's kind of all I got for this one, so God bless. See you next one. Bye.